like this though. I like this definition. So like female, right?
Right.
It says a person belonging at conception. So this is determined at conception,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
To this belonging to the sex that produces the large reproductive cell. It
Right.
doesn't say the person has to.
Wait, hold on. At conception?
Yes,
Yeah,
conception, literally.
At conception.
Yeah, when the fucking sperm
you
goes
have to
into
be
the
sexed
egg.
at conception. When you have,
I mean,
you need to basically be karyotyped. Like
It's like you're done and you're like, oh, it's a boy. It's a boy.
Literally don't understand.
Who knows that? How does anybody know that? Like literally, that's crazy.
Right on their shit, man. Because
these are the guys that are always yelling that we're ignoring the science, and they don't understand the science at fucking all. I know I personally am not happy in the state of the country in the past couple days.
I mean, yes.
Mm-hmm.
It is rough around here, man. In the United States, we used to talk about stuff like how we didn't like, fascists and Nazis and authoritarianism and stuff like that.
Nazis. I hate these guys.
Apparently, it's just a bunch of words some people said, and they didn't really mean it. I am wearing one of my Captain America shirts today, so.
Hey, I didn't think about it. I just worn my Indiana Jones shirt today, or Captain America. I have them both.
Whoever you got that punches Nazis, wear that shirt.
I got Doctor Strange. He probably isn't a fan.
I mean, he probably does some kind of weird spell where like I don't know, some kind of demon punches the Nazi, so he doesn't have to.
Here's what I will say, because lots of people might be like, why are you doing politics?
Really?
Because it's kind of unavoidable at this point.
I don't know how anybody could honestly ask that question anymore.
That is true. But,
I mean, I'm not saying, I'm sure
there might be
will.
a troll.
There's going to be people that ask, but or have something to say about it. But I mean, come on, man. Come on.
Well, I mean, this was in the thumbnail, but I'll go ahead and get this out of the way real fast because there's not a whole lot to say about it. So here's apolitical Nerdrotic Gary Buechler.
They just realized that maybe conservatives have been marginalized and underrepresented.
Newsflash, you stupid cocks.
Yes, newsflash, Hollywood, and quite frankly, to a lot of conservatives do like entertainment and pop culture. So do libertarians and independent a-holes like me.
Obviously, being as apolitical as a person could be, or is it down here? Yeah, there's the other one. I will say I do feel it's nice to finally have the actual guys that he's apolitical taken down, because he's never been apolitical at all. I've broken it down in numerous videos many times how he's clearly not apolitical. But I'm glad that he's out in the open about it now. And he's got me looking up stuff on fucking Nazi Central here.
I had a couple people, say something about this, and I'm just like, was this not open information that he had already I just kind of assumed that was the case, partly because Griggs has always been really open about his Trump support. You know what I mean? And I kind of see them as mostly the same when it comes to optics.
I think Gary, it's not even like Gary hides it better, but Gary says it less obviously.
Yeah,
I guess
he doesn't have a second channel where he literally just capes for Trump nonstop.
Yeah.
Or if he does, we don't know about it. But I mean, they've done stuff like he had on January 6th. He had a January 6th kind of celebration stream or whatever. I mean, it's you actually have something perfect to show why we talk about politics. So here is on good old Twitter X. You've got this Keith Woods fellow, who his response to this is to say, okay, maybe woke really is dead. So this is a response to this. And it's like, well, that's a weird response, right? Like, what does that have to do with anything? It seems like there's some, and then this person here, and you start looking through the comments and stuff, and you're like, wow, in a lot of these people's minds, there's like a direct correlation between him doing a Nazi salute and like wokeness going away.
The elections, they come and go. Some elections are, important, some are not. But this one, this one really mattered. And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
What? Well, what? Huh? I just don't know. What's the connection there? Because that's always been about.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that everybody that's like anti-woke is a fucking Nazi, but I am saying that you have been serving the goals of people who turn out to basically just be, doing Nazi shit. And then there's also Nazis who that is 1-to-1 direct correlation for them. So there you go.
I mean, do these channels push Nazis shit? Because they're Nazis? I mean, yes, but they may not, I would argue that some of them may not even do it intentionally, but they do it because that's where the money flows. Some, Trump dictatorship here. We're not there yet, but goddamn, he's doing executive orders to try to push it. It's bad. And obviously he's going to be getting lots of some executive orders will go through with his Supreme Court, and we kind of have to see which ones will happen. One that I think is worth talking about a lot. I mean, there's a lot worth talking about, but there's ones that are going to be getting more conversation. But I think one that's probably not going to get as much conversation, but needs to be brought up often, is that he got rid of Biden's rule that the insulin cap for a monthly insulin cap is $35. He got rid of that executive order. It's gone. So now, you want to talk about how Democrats are serving the fucking pharmaceutical companies with the fucking COVID vaccine. What about that one? Trump just gave them a big old fucking present with that one.
I'm just, I just really want to, I don't know, punch Nazis, man.
Yeah.
Really, I don't like being violent. I don't like violence. I probably can't even throw a very
Well,
good
listen,
punch.
I am against violence towards human beings.
Sure.
Fortunately, Nazis don't count.
Got it. Nailed it.
What kind of American are you?
It's kind that punches Nazis.
Yeah.
In terms of real life resonance, Indiana Jones has taken on this elevated symbolic significance in recent years because we've actually seen, bizarrely, proliferation of actual real life Nazis parading around, and some of them are getting punched. So what I want to know is, would the ultimate Nazi puncher, Indiana Jones, would he support these people doing the punching?
He'd push them out of the way to get in the first punch.
Yeah, I do have more stuff pulled up on birthright citizenship because that's one to break down as well as the.
Well, I have something on that too because
gender
you
thing.
mentioned, you mentioned the bishop, right? So I have an article about that, so we can listen to because apparently she's said something really fucked up in her prayers, and Trump's really all the right. They're just upset.
Well, I haven't seen anything about that, but I've heard about it. And real quick, I just want to remind you guys, this image is 80 years old.
Yeah.
It's still true. Absolutely true. Fuck Nazis.
It's so true that they've remade it. A bunch of artists have just paid homage to it several times over, and every single one, it just conveys that very, just literally foundational for Marvel Comics, because this is right there at the beginning of everything, right? I'm sure it is a t-shirt. A majority of our country is not okay with them. That's actually false terror story. That's actually wrong. It is a majority of the people who voted in specific regions and places. It's certain numbers, which was kind of goosed to get there. Not to say that there was any meddling. I don't know anything about that or have any reason to think that. I'm saying that they very specifically targeted with their campaigning regions, areas that would, and swing states obviously, but then counties within those swing states that would be, you know, it was a pretty fucking pretty well coordinated campaign. But you know, here's this guy. I know he had said he doesn't want to talk about politics much anymore, but let's see what's up. Hey,
what's going on?
We're not talking politics at all, man.
No, this isn't political at all. No, nothing happened.
Talking about Captain America.
By the way. Yeah.
I'm trying to make sure everything's okay. All of our power just came back on about 5 minutes ago, so I was looking around to make sure.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we had a bad. I know you guys probably know. There's a big winter storm that came through, and
yeah, I'm in the middle of it. It was -6 this morning.
Yeah, it's like 12 degrees here, and I'm sure it feels colder than that. So
I thought it was bad. It was like 25 here or something this morning, and I was like,
yeah,
oh, no.
it's gonna warm up by this weekend, but right now it's like the Arctic or something. It's crazy.
Yeah, we got like 17 inches of snow. Like, God, it feels like probably like 2.5 weeks ago. Has not melted really at all. It is still out there, just shoveled to the side.
You know, I put some thought into this. You know, not to derail or anything, but I did put some thought into this idea because I was like, surely by the time of the election, anybody that would, you know, ostensibly vote for a Democrat or whatever did, they knew what Trump was about, and they knew that we shouldn't let him win, right?
Mm-hmm.
But and yet people still stayed home, and I was trying to. Is that because they just were okay with it? And I know that's the kind of like impulse reaction to go, oh well, they just must be okay with it, and like. In terms of effect, there is no difference. That's what they did. They were complacent, and he won. However, I wonder if some people are like, you know, Kamala's going to win, so it's like whatever, and that like almost in a way demotivates them to even get out and vote because they just kind of assumed she was going to because of the fucking messaging that, you know, and then in the media and with what we were getting for most of the campaign was that Kamala's going to fucking trounce his ass. You know what I mean? So I kind of wonder if it's just like a miscalculated, you know, laziness or something like that, apathy. Not that they're just like okay with it, right? I don't know.
Well, I was going into it fairly confident Kamala would win. That being said, I do feel they did a decent job pushing the message that like she needs to win. Like Trump is bad news. She needs to win.
Yeah.
And the problem is lots of people just stayed home. And yeah, I'm not going to say everybody who stayed home is pro-Nazi, but I will say the people who stayed home weren't interested enough to educate themselves to prevent Nazis.
And yeah, honestly,
that is almost just as bad. I mean, you're enabling.
The effect I don't care about anymore, so I don't care if it's out of ignorance or just like malice. You kind of just suck to me these days. You suck. This is a woke bishop, Marion Budge, buddy.
This.
Attempted to chastise and attack President. Wow, she must have said some pretty rough shit, man.
I heard about this, but I didn't see it.
To have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families. Some who fear for their lives. And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meat packing plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation. But the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes and are good neighbors. They are faithful members of our churches and mosques, synagogues, wadara, and temples.
Is Trump okay? Like,
yeah, he looks very annoyed. To hear someone asking him to just be kind to people, it's like, oh, I'm so annoyed.
His response was, quote, not too exciting, was it? I didn't think it was a good service. Thank you very much. They can do much better.
Jesus.
And then here's you know, just like a litany of fucking chuds, just like expect to see this woke bishop all over most of cable news. You know, small minority supports open borders. Okay, let's fucking listen to this shit. A small minority supports open borders and men competing against women in sports. Actually, no. For one thing, this open borders bullshit is bullshit. Very few people think there should be open. I mean, open borders is just no borders.
I mean, I feel like
Right.
these people didn't even listen to Kamala Harris or anything, because it's like, explain to me the point where she was promoting that open borders, men competing against women in sports. Like, what?
Well, they have to do that. They have to say open borders because otherwise, you know, it would just be like looking at facts, which the facts were that, you know, Biden's administration, yeah, there's a lot of, you know, illegal immigration, but he also, they tried to fucking enact that goddamn, that bill that would have, it was more authoritarian than anything that like Trump has ever done as far as immigration goes. And he was like, no, don't do that because then I won't have anything to run on in the campaign. Well, that's this is just some fucking they come here of their own volition. You understand that, right? Like, and also the people who are fucking legal citizens are treated like fucking second-class wage slaves in a lot of ways. So like, this kind of to fucking throw a chaos bomb into the discourse, bro, it's fucking stupid.
I mean, I here's the deal. Like, if you want to argue that undocumented immigrants should at least be making minimum wage, guess what? I agree.
We agree, yeah.
That,
they should be treated better.
No problem there. Let's make sure that happens. That's, you know, I'm not sure what your point is, because wage slavery is an issue. Wage slavery doesn't even have to do with legal immigrants. It has to do with people who are making way less than they should be in this country, which is very common, which is most of the country.
Most people, yeah. I don't know. We can maybe we'll dedicate some segment of a stream in the future to looking at some data about wages and stuff like that. I'm sure a lot of you already know this stuff, and you've looked at the arc of like, friends. You know what I just learned not long ago? It fucking blew my mind. Did you know that credit scores didn't exist until like, what was it, like early 80s, late 70s?
No, I didn't realize it was that recent. And I thought, probably more like the 60s.
Like, what the fuck?
This thing that judges our life is not even.
Why is that, Letter J? Why do I need to react with the tone and tenor that you think I should? Please explain. I will accept.
Yes, we need to be more chill while they take over the country and take away human rights.
I need to accept your. I'll accept your response in essay format, long form essay, as Eric July would say. That way, it's more.
Well, once it's long form, you can't refute it. Come on.
You know, one of the things I see a lot in my comments on my videos is being upset over quote unquote nothing sometimes. My question is, where is the line where we're allowed to be upset and angry about something? Like, is it seeing something coming that's happened historically that we know leads to bad things, or do we wait for the bad things to happen to the point where there is no turning back from that, and then we can be upset about it? Which one is it? Is it like, I understand the idea of the slippery slope thing being used incorrectly. You know what I mean? Like, there's times people say that over stuff that isn't bad. But we're talking about stuff that's been documented historically as leading to this thing. Like, these aren't, this is not completely uncharted territory for most people.
Yeah.
So,
okay, so this is a mistake to, I mean, you know, your avatar there and name is based off of a really fucking awesome character, but it's a mistake to think this way about them. Because as we all can tell by now, hopefully, chuds are just fascists. And fascists are not people that you should think about as like, oh, I can't, if I do this, then they'll do that and respond in some shitty way or whatever, because that's essentially all they do.
That's the thing. Like, you can't really model what you do after how they'll react, because fun fact, they're going to react however they want. They'll tell their audience whatever they want, no matter how bad their argument is. They'll just push on their audience, and their audience will slurp it up.
The question, before I leave and come back real quick, I just want to say the question I'd ask then is, what is the negative effect of that? Am I hurt by that somehow? By them laughing?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll be right back.
I also want to say that what if they do stuff that make us laugh? Does that make their message any different for you? Like, if you're a supporter of theirs and they say that like AirrickDebunks is an idiot, whatever, if they do that and then they're like overreacting to something that I did, does that make you support them less? The answer is probably no. And that's because you find the people that you politically agree with, socially agree with, and those are the people that you're going to latch onto and you're going to follow. So being worried about someone laughing at your take, if that's the case, most people wouldn't say anything. You would get nothing done. I've seen videos of like people crying because a family member was killed in some accident, and some chud retweets it and laughs because they're a minority. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I mean, what's my takeaway from that? Oh, they're gonna laugh at me. Okay, cool, all right. Like,
I mean,
I don't see that.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many cases of like something tragic happening to somebody and some chud laughs at them. It's like there's no point in trying to dictate your behavior and avoiding getting them to laugh, because they laugh at disgusting shit.
Right. So the follow up to that is, yes, you're hurt by it. It undermines your message. How does that? So explain to me how it undermines our message. I'm just curious. Like, does being upset about something that is going to cause harm to a vast majority of a community undermine the fact that it's a serious message? I'm very curious about that. So, Spider J then goes, you can't be civil. Eric goes on EVS stream because he's civil. Come on. Are you talking to me? Are you saying that to me? I'm not being uncivil. I haven't called anybody names. I haven't said anything.
Civility is not something that I really, even give too much of a shit about. I don't know, man. Like I kind of just, these are arguments that I would have cared more about, or points I would have cared more about a couple of years ago. But like at this point, if you don't have your mind made up on the shit that you're, engaging with on YouTube, then I don't know that my civility or lack thereof, or somebody else's or whatever, is gonna, I don't know that it matters. I'm not trying to appeal to people who don't have values in their head. You know what I mean? Because that's what we're talking about. If somebody can hear me and go, I don't like, he wasn't civil, so I kind of just fucking disagree with his message completely, then they're a soft-brained fucking, idiot, and I'm not trying to appeal to that person.
I mean, I've seen plenty of leftists make arguments I disagree with. It doesn't change really any point of view I have, other than, hey, that's a bad argument.
There's lots of people I disagree with on the left.
Yes.
I don't tend to follow any one particular, like, there's people that follow an ideology and there's people that have their own ideas and they happen to align with people that have ideologies. You have to be able to distinguish which is which.
Are you talking about Trump right now, man? Are you legitimately asking this question? I mean, I feel like we're perfectly, capable of explaining to you where the harm is coming, starting with several executive orders. But I mean,
yes.
Are you someone that has just never heard these things on the internet? If we explain this to you, will you change your mind? Will you stop trying to pretend like there's no harm once we prove to you that there is harm? Or what
Plus,
are you doing?
I mean, President Trump got inaugurated on Monday. I mean, are you expecting everything to be done by now, and like this is the finality of it? Like, it's a weird statement.
I don't really understand that part of the question, because it's very clearly government, like the government taking things away from people.
Right.
So that's very clear. Genuinely curious. I don't know about that, Wyatt. I'm not saying that you're a liar, but I find this type of question to be typically used by people that aren't being genuine. They said he was going to attack and harm the LGBT community. Well, I mean, he's already gone after trans people in the military and said that there's no such thing as non-binary according to the government. So right there alone, that's the begin. That's two examples. So, I mean, how many examples do we need? Does he need to lock all gay people up? And then maybe you guys will be like, oh, well, that's harm to the community. Or is it just taking away basic rights? I mean, what's the line? Where's the line begin? Is it like dissolving gay marriage? Then what's the next goalpost after that? People have a right to be concerned about it. I feel like it's really silly to act as if being concerned about something that could happen isn't a problem when everybody on the fucking right thinks that somebody's coming to take their guns every day.
Right.
Like, give me a break. Come on.
Obama was president the first time, and it's like, it hasn't happened yet. They're still fucking, just panicking over it, though. You know what I mean? And meanwhile, we're like, hey, here's some evidence of some things that we're actually concerned about. It's actually started to happen already. And they're like, oh, everybody's getting upset. Like, they're going to do something bad. They haven't done anything bad. Orange man bad. Am I right?
It's just weird to me that being proactively concerned about something is only a problem when it happens on the opposite side. Mm-hmm. If somebody were to tell me they were concerned about some of the stuff that Democrats were doing that might affect them directly, and they said something that does seem like it might affect them directly, I would just say, yeah, I understand why you're concerned. And then I would accept that and move on. But this idea that anybody on the left being concerned about anything that's being said in regards to rights is just making stuff up. It's just so ridiculous. You don't have to agree with me. I get it. You guys politically do not align with me. I understand that. I'm not challenging that. If that's how you feel, that's how you fucking feel. But to act as if me being proactive and wanting to protect myself and protect my community from an administration that has shown that at the very least they're not going to do anything helpful for my community, I don't think that's too big of a stretch, to be honest.
I want to point this out here. Look at this shit. Some of these responses to this this evil bishop and her evil sermon. So keep in mind, it literally just said, I hope we, think about the people who are suffering and scared, immigrants, so on. Was a weaponized political sermon. It's activism. Total setup. They're acting like he was assaulted. You know what I mean? Like that's how fucking twisted these people's brains are at this point. There's no trying to operate in a way that is rational with people who, respond to hey, let's maybe not be so shitty to people. Because it's like, she wasn't even saying you shouldn't do the policies that you're saying you want to do, Trump. She wasn't saying that. She was just kind of like generally putting out hey, let's remember these are human beings.
Let's remember empathy. That's pretty much her message. Empathy exists. I'm
going to be honest, like it's okay. I don't remember any time prior to Trump where people were so absolutely and utterly tied at the leash to somebody who is in a political position. I don't remember it in my lifetime. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's happened. And the fact that there's no self-reflection on that, I've supported a lot of people in politics. I never wear a hat with their name on it. Yeah. I never wear a shirt with their name on it. I just don't. Because they're there to serve us in office. We're not here to worship them.
Did you see that after the I guess the outdoor part of the inauguration the other day, all of the shit that people left?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you realize how fucking bizarre that is?
Like car keys, wallets, like things like that.
Very important belongings, and they just fucking dropped it like it was nothing because they didn't realize that they weren't going to get into the building with it, and before they went there, which is another thing. It's like, I'm sure that information existed on the website or wherever the fuck, you know what I mean? And these people don't look things up. So they just went and brought a bunch of shit. Then they're suddenly like, oh, I can't take my keys or my purse or my wallet or my family photos.
I mean, that whole thing, let's be clear, that whole thing was a shit show. Like those people who came look, I don't feel sorry for people in that position in terms of like the money they spent and everything, because they knew what they were getting into. They knew it was going to be crazy. They went out there and Trump did not give a shit about any of them. This is the person that they've been supporting all this time. He didn't care, and he doesn't care. That's the reality of it. They went all the way out there, and there was no concern about their personal belongings. Nothing. Just none whatsoever. And again, they, like you said, they left them all out there, Also, the idea that they want to go into Washington, D.C. and quote unquote drain the swamp and get these people out of there while also selling merch like a rock star is really fucking strange. Mm-hmm. You know what you wear t-shirts and hats of? Bands you love, comic books you love, movies you love, celebrities you might go see or things like that, because you're out there and you're supporting those celebrities. I've never seen it tied to a politician in this way. It's almost like he's a celebrity and not a politician. Mm-hmm. It's almost like that's what's happening.
I remember being really upset with Bush, and there was a following behind Bush, but was never as cult-like as Trump. Trump, MAGA is a cult, and I know lots of people don't like that term being used, but it's fucking true. I've seen it firsthand. Trump could change his position on a dime. These people just roll right along with it. It is disturbing, and people like to throw around terms like blue MAGA and stuff like that. Yeah. No, it's not the same on the other side at fucking all.
Yeah, I actually, ironically, had this clip in the opener.
Dewey, rebranding this taffy as Chewanon was a stroke of genius. Yep, and when we told Joe Rogan it cured COVID, we were off. God bless our stupid, stupid country.
Although I do think it's interesting. Here's an image that, frankly, has united the left and the right and had the center like, oh my God, it's not what you think it is. And somehow the left and the right can look this and see clearly that this is a Sig Heil. I know Dan covered this yesterday. I haven't really had much of a chance to talk about, but this is an obvious Sig Heil, and lots of people are like, "Oh, it's a troll." It's well, I mean, we got Chariot on here, and Chariot's definitely not a troll. Hey, Chariot.
Oh, hello. Yes, I'm not trolling. I am here.
No. But yeah, we can call it a troll if we want, but like this is obviously a signal, if nothing else. It's a signal that
it doesn't matter.
We fucking won. We have power. Fuck off.
This has been happening.
Yeah, all the people in the center. Oh, you're misreading it, and I'm looking at it going, Jesus Christ, he just did a Sig Heil. And then Nick Fuentes is watching it going, fuck yeah, he did a Sig Heil.
To kind of get people to talk about it and call left-wingers crazy.
Since what, like 2014 or so, basically since Gamergate, more or less, era, like, right around there, being a Nazi has basically been indistinguishable from being a troll, because, and they did that on purpose. They did that to create, a weaponized, reasonable doubt. And at a certain point, you just have to
We're just joking, guys.
I mean, look at the links they go to defend out of context videos of drag queens performing. Like if a drag queen is walking into a building wearing like a low cut top, all of a sudden they're doing something to kids. But you have somebody like Elon doing clearly a Nazi salute. You have him doing that, and they will jump through every hoop imaginable to convince you otherwise. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I've got plenty of things we can look at here that actually, just kind of go to fuck up all of his all the defenses for that thing, or all of the I guess bullshit lies and cope. There's this helpful image here.
Can you imagine, by the way, if Elon was, while you pull that up, if he was at like one of those Free Palestine campus protests and he did that? Everybody covering it would be like, "Oh, this is a Nazi salute." Like it would immediately, we would all know. It's just crazy.
So that that one of the first things that they all started doing on is using still images of Democrats going like this, like
right,
like this. Which is just usually just waving. You know what I mean? That's what it looks like whenever you take a photograph of someone waving, right? And
right,
so,
right.
But like this explains here that even if it is, because you see leftists doing the fist in the air, right? There's a difference between those two things. In fact, apparently, I didn't know this, but the Nazi salute is done as like a open-handed, like very open-handed, like they're very emphasize their fingers straight to kind of. I guess. I
mean, look, the idea of it being an accident did not work when he did it a second time, Dane. Like when he turned around and did it a second time, it no longer was a quote unquote, which by the way, this defense was awful, an autistic person doing something, which is what I've seen a lot of people saying. So if I hate that argument, but if that is the argument you're making, then what explains him turning around and doing it exactly the same in the opposite direction? He did not do it not thinking, he did it twice.
Mistaken would be like, oh man, I can't believe that's really embarrassing that I made that mistake. They wouldn't go back online and be like, yeah, anyway, Jews are replacing the white birth rate. Like that's not a mistake.
I am curious what point in the autism spectrum makes people do Nazi shit. If we can study that and figure that out, that'd be great, guys.
They just patched in that subclass.
As I've talked about before, I'm on the spectrum, so I can attest to this without getting canceled, I guess. I don't know. But like there's definitely an intentional, I mean, I guess it's intentional on their part, chuds and whatnot. Like they do prey on young autistic men, because if you catch a young autistic person, especially one that's alienated and like, feels isolated, doesn't, have any social situation going on and feels like, what the fuck's wrong with me? And you catch that person at the, right moment as far as the fascist is concerned, wrong moment for anybody else. You can mold that person to, and that's what they've done in a lot of cases, I think. Did the ADL say that? Okay, that's good to know. Well, then I guess that's all settled, right?
Yeah,
there's been some other like more left-wing Jewish organizations kind of calling out the ADL for this.
It's interesting that they only agree when the ADL says something that they want to agree with. You know what I mean?
Always.
Well, I do think it's wild. It goes out of its way to say it's an awkward gesture, not a Nazi salute. It's like, were we watching the same thing?
The ADL went harder against PewDiePie than they did against Elon Musk. That's so crazy.
Well, it's because Elon Musk has a lot of fucking money, and money equals power in our culture. You know, not to say I always agree with the ADL, because I absolutely do not. But yeah, that's outrageously bad take.
Yeah, well, that's what I meant about like the Palestine like comment earlier. Is like it seems like there's a group of people for whom like you can do Nazi salutes and like unban people who do nothing but post swastikas and like black crime statistics and talk about how they think the Holocaust was fake or exaggerated, and all of that is not anti-Semitism. But if you criticize not even Jewish people, which would still be not good, but just a small number of people or a specific political movement, that's what anti-Semitism looks like.
Yeah, if you
It's
criticize Benjamin
Jonah
Netanyahu,
Goldberg
that's
thesis.
anti-Semitism.
Well, the difference is that I have never personally used the ADL for any sort of defense of my argument, but those guys are always like using the ADL as a negative. You know what I mean? Like I've never pulled up and go, well, the ADL said this, so it must be true. You know what I mean? But they're constantly saying that the ADL is like a organization of hate. So you can't then be like, oh, but look, they said it's not a Nazi salute, so clearly they're right this time. No, you painted them as an organization of hate. That like their opinion on it regardless shouldn't matter to these people.
Yeah, well, they were making videos. I'm sure some of the exact same people were making videos because, like, I think it was the ADL that put out some like update or some web page that was about Pepe the Frog years ago.
I remember.
And talking about like Pepe as a hate symbol and stuff like that. And you know, tons of YouTubers were making fun of that. But now we trust them just cause. The truth is what's convenient for us, basically, is what it's like to be a right winger.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whatever allows us to face no consequences and achieve more power. That's reality right there. Yeah. You can come on, boys, if you want to. I don't feel like it right now. Thank you.
I like pet children. That's good.
Pet children.
The one I have doesn't say pet children there. It says pet Marco Rubio.
Oh, that's funny.
I mean, somebody on my stream last night said, "What is that about pet children?" I was like, "I pet my son like pretty much every morning. Like, hey, morning, you know, pat him on the head, you know."
Yeah.
These left-wing sickos are saying they should have pet children.
They're patting their kids on their heads and stuff. Ugh.
No, when your kid's a certain height, yeah, you'll pat him on the head because he's right there.
My God.
Stupid more. Dude, get the fuck out of here. You don't know what you're. Come on, Bob, get your boy, man. Come on. Get your boy. Jesus Christ.
Mikael, I don't know what else to say, dude. If this isn't Nazi shit, I don't know what else is. I really like if you see this and you're not saying that's Nazi shit, then I don't know what to say, man. That is pure Nazi shit we're looking at right now.
Well, I think Mika Ali's point is that it's technically only a Nazi if they're from that specific region of Europe. Otherwise, it's sparkling white rage.
Oh, that makes sense.
God damn it. Yeah, that's the seal of the presidency right there. That seals it, literally.
Oh, God.
Literally right there.
Yeah, the seal of the presidency is right fucking there. We're up to 22 states who are suing Donald Trump for blocking birthright citizenship.
Oh, yeah, this shit.
Yeah, this is to me. This is very confusing because I don't know about you, everybody in the chat, everybody on the panel, but I'm definitely a birthright citizen because I was born in this country.
I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, I feel like everybody after the founding fathers is a birthright citizen. So where does this stop and end? Is it just people with brown skin? Is that what that is? Does it say on there if you have skin darker than this complexion? Yeah.
According to the wording Trump used, it excludes the following people from automatic citizenship: those whose mothers were not legally in the United States and whose fathers were not U.S. citizens and lawful permanent residents. Now, here's the deal. My parents are birthright citizens too. So are they disqualified now? Like,
yeah.
There is a reason why they just did birthright citizenship, and it's worked pretty fucking well for 150 years. Yeah, and
you know the scary thing about this, Bob, is that regardless of what this wording says, they could make an argument to get rid of anybody they didn't like. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, if they wanted to eject somebody from the country, they could dig back and go, well, your great, 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 great grandparents were not actually citizens. So that means that everybody after that technically doesn't belong in this country. So this could be done literally for anybody, honestly.
Yeah, and I listen, do I think they're going to target me? No.
No.
Why? Because I'm fucking white.
Yeah.
They're going to target people who aren't white because we all know this is rooted in racism. But they could still use it against me. They could use this and say, hey, you're not a citizen. You can't vote this election.
Right.
Boom. Registration thrown out the window. They can. This is just something that is disturbing. And you know, Trump likes to act like it's some insane thing that we're the only country of birthright citizenship. No, there's a whole bunch of countries of birthright citizenship, including Canada, Mexico.
Because it's actually beneficial to the country. It's beneficial to the country for birthright citizenship because it adds to your workforce. It can add to your military. It adds to production in the country. It's just, there's a lot of benefits for birthright citizenship that cuts back on the paperwork and bullshit you have to deal with. If a child is born and you have to file paperwork every single time they're born to sort of make them U.S. citizens, that is a waste of taxpayers' money. It is a waste of money.
It's easy enough just to say, oh, you're born in the country? Okay, you're a citizen. Boom. Call it a day. But yeah, we all understand this is Trump trying to get rid of the illegal immigrants. It's racism. It's bullshit. This is the type of stuff that Trump was promising he would do. And everybody, we were warning. So many people were saying, hey, don't vote for him because he's going to do this shit. And then he got voted for and he did this shit. And here it is. Yay.
There it is.
But yeah, so lots of people are bringing up the fact it is getting sued. This I will argue that this will definitely go up to the Supreme Court. And logically, if we had, logically, Supreme Court looking at this, saying, can an executive order overrule an amendment? Logically, no, absolutely not. Fuck off with that. But we have this Supreme Court at this time where anything kind of goes with them, especially when Trump's involved. So we have to see how it plays out. But I will say this is outrageous.
So please remember, the goal is for us to be overwhelmed and perpetually distracted. They want us to react to everything while they pelt things at us nonstop. Resist the urge to doom scroll or feel like you have to boil the ocean. I'm not sure what that phrase means. You have gifts, interests, talents, and expertise that can be targeted and focused. Do your work. Don't leave it to someone else, and don't try to do this all at once. Do it all at once. Do the next right thing. We'll get through this as long as we do it together. So yes.
Boil the ocean means trying to do something that's impossible. That's what the term means. Yeah,
that tracks. And then I had shared a thing the other day too that I guess we'll just look at it.
Well, here, real quick, I think Jaybird's bringing out an excellent point. Are the eggs cheaper?
No,
because
they're not. And they're not going to be.
So,
they're not going to be.
He's doing all these insane executive orders and shit. And, I would love to point out, how does this help the fucking economy? I'm sorry, it's off the screen, but the birthright citizenship. How does take that way help the economy? How does the two genders thing, which we haven't dove into yet, how does that help the fucking economy?
The birthright citizenship thing, if they follow through with it, could actually hurt the economy.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's the exact opposite.
Pretty badly. I read an article a couple months ago that said that it seemed like Trump and Musk were actually kind of trying to steer us towards a recession. Almost like they have to intentionally be doing that because of, things they've talked about doing or whatever. But I'll look it up. But so this person, Michelle Baker, had said, just basically talked about having terminal cancer. And she has felt like she could offer a little perspective on the country. She says there's times when she needs to pay attention to her cancer, like when she goes to doctor's appointments, takes medicine, so on. But when she's not doing those things, thinking about the cancer can be actively harmful. And you know, I'm not going to sit here and read it all to you, but it's a good perspective to have to kind of onboard and realize that they're going to be doing some crazy shit. They already started, obviously. You know, we're fucking 2 days in and we're already doing that wasn't a Nazi salute discourse.
Yeah.
So like, fuck, man, the fucking wheels are going to come off of this motherfucker. So like, take it easy. You know. I
mean, I told you guys like a couple weeks ago when I wrote that long like diatribe in the DM group or whatever that I was overwhelmed. He hadn't even been sworn in yet, and I was just like, I'm tired of seeing videos about him. You know, I had a lot of channels I used to watch. I don't know if you guys are familiar with like the Midas Network with all the different people that are associated with that. I had to like stop following some of them, not because I don't want to fight, but we've got 4 years. We got 4 years to deal with this. Yes, I'm going to speak out against stuff that I need to speak out against, but there's too much to speak out against every single little thing that happens. You have to pick the battles that are the most important to you, and then everybody else sort of gets in line with that, and you fight that way. But being overwhelmed by it is going to exhaust you, and that's what they want. They want you to be exasperated and exhausted, and I just wasn't going to let them do that to me. So that's why I wrote that letter. I was like, I have to take a break from some of this. I can't do it every day. You know what I mean?
Okay, I have to address this. Birthright citizenship has been abused and exploited for a long time. It needs complete overhaul. Please explain how it's been abused.
Yeah, how's it been abused, man?
Get specific. Please tell me.
I know a lot of people that are here as citizens that have family members that are not, and they haven't seen them in years because they can't get them to come over here. So if you're talking about some sort of abuse by like the child being born and the parents being brought over or whatever, that doesn't happen. At least not from what I know. They're still not legal really good citizens.
Sorry. Like their end goal, you know, probably is something like in their minds, they're thinking if we can actually get rid of these immigrants that come in and work for super cheap, then, you know, these people that are asking for fucking raises and you know, insurance and stuff, they're going to eventually have to just, you know, bend and take the shitty jobs for low pay. And they'll have no choice, you know, and then we can continue raking in profits while they die.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say about the immigration thing that about the idea that any measure that helps somebody just like come to this country and stay here, the idea that that's being abused in really any sense is kind of ridiculous, because the whole do you guys remember what was the woman's name, the Republican who did the State of the Union rebuttal to Biden? She had the green top. She was in the kitchen. She did that wavery Minnesota mom voice.
I remember who you're talking about. I'm trying to look up her name.
Yeah. She brought up that case of that woman who had been trafficked at the southern border and described her story as if she had been trafficked.
Katie Brett was her name.
Katie Brett, yeah. Okay. She described her story as if she had been trafficked by being let in to the country. But actually, she was on the opposite side, and then she was victimized by the cartels, is how that happened. So like the abuses largely seem to exist as a function of greater and greater and more intense attempts to control the border. When you see like kids like in cages where they're like just crammed in together and they're suffering and they're getting sick, when they talk about like the policy of family separation, when you hear about people who just like wind up stranded because they want to get into the country and they can't even do it legally, you know, this is abuse. But it seems to me like Americans see immigration like the country is a big kitchen, and if you let other people in, then there's too many cooks.
Right.
And I'm not sure that's how it works, because when I go to apply for jobs and I look for things that are in like my area of expertise, that have to do with my education, things I'm qualified to do, things I have the skills to do, things that would grow my resume, the types of jobs you're supposed to get if you want to be upwardly mobile in the economy, or even just stay at whatever level you're at. You know, when I look for those jobs, I'm not seeing them be taken by people who just entered into the country. I'm seeing them be taken over by like AI. Everything is like AI content writer if you want to work in any kind of publication now. So like, to me, it kind of feels like I'm really not mad at people who just want to live in the United States of America.
Yeah,
I don't even know that I've ever had a bad experience like that. I just
can you
think
please link your
wild.
source for this information?
So, I mean, I would go ahead and give it to you. So you're saying daily people are pregnant, women are pregnant, and they want to bring their children into the country so they can have a better life. And
they're flying them.
Like evil? Like how? Like explain how that damages this country. Like that's what I'd like to hear.
This is interesting because the evidence for the abuse appears to be that somebody's breaking the rule. So that means the rule's not restrictive enough. When all that this demonstrates is that the tighter you squeeze, the more people are going to slip through your fingers. But is that baby hurting somebody? That's the question. That's the only question I have.
Yeah.
That's the only concern I've got, because I don't think they tend to do that, babies. I don't usually think. I mean, I don't know if they have the whooping cough or something, but like, I'm just straight up not worried about it, brother. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I think it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, like you're dealing with like, I know I've heard like the stories about people talk about, oh, they're going to do like an invasion or stuff like that. And I'm not gonna lie, I think it's comical. Like you're going to bring over like almost do women and have them have babies, and those babies will invade. It's like,
well, I looked this up. Apparently, this, according to Homeland Security, this term they use is birth tourism, which is where they grant visas or some sort of paperwork to allow people to come into the country, and that women would do that to abuse and have children. However, the last confirmed statistics was less than 10,000 people were born that way in this country, less than 10,000. They said usually it's between 7,000 and 10,000. The last time it was actually checked, it looked like was between 2017 and 2018. And there's no real records kept of that because there's no reason to keep those records. It just seems like a silly thing. But the issue they say is the problem that they're stating here is that the actual service that provides visas or, the ability to come into this country, they're not following through with their questions about pregnancies, because right now it seems like you can travel to this country up to a certain point of being pregnant, and there's a cutoff for that. But they're just not following through with that. So it's not even an issue with birthright citizenship. It seems like it's a breakdown in the system of allowing people that are coming here who are pregnant too late in their pregnancy. It seems like that's the problem.
I can't believe we live in a fucking country where Donald Trump and everything he's done, that guy can be president and he can be pardoning all these people and everything. And you've got like these conservative or just right-leaning people. Maybe they think of themselves more as centrists or left moderates. I don't mean to invalidate their self-concept, but you've got these people who like they look at that and they're like, that's whatever. But then they look you dead in the eye and they're like, sir, every day our boys in blue fight for our freedom to stop the people who are coming into this country jaywalking. They are crossing streets, sir, not at the intersection, just going across. I didn't understand.
If we don't uphold
I didn't know we lived in utter anarchy,
laws
sir.
enacted in this great land of ours, then what are we if we're just like letting people abuse those systems and get away with it? By the way, I don't know.
It's great points, and I also just to go back to this original example. So people flying into the United States.
It's not daily. It's definitely not daily.
It's a myth.
Yeah, my initial thought is, okay, so they would have to have paperwork to fly into the United States. They aren't just going to let you buy a ticket and fly into the United States.
I noticed they got really quiet when I looked up the actual information.
Yeah,
they got really quiet when I looked it up.
I want to point out because Sketchy did the right thing. Sketchy got hands, mod in chat. He did the exact appropriate thing, which is that the guy made a couple of claims, refused to back it up with any kind of source or further explanation or anything, and he fucking banned him. And I think that's the right way to go.
Good job, Reggie. But yeah, if your argument is that like they're flying in with illegal papers that are gotten illegally, then maybe that's the issue. Maybe that it's the issue of them obtaining illegal papers and not birthright citizenship. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, wait. They say there's like a fertility issue, like in the U.S. too, and they're not having enough babies.
They do make that claim.
They don't want to bring babies in from other countries, and it's like, well, wait, That doesn't make any sense. Are you some kind of like, I don't know, nationalist or something?
So apparently when someone is here illegally, that's a problem. When somebody's born here legally, that's a problem. So I'm wondering which way they would like to have it done. Just no immigration whatsoever, because now you're saying that the legal means that people get citizenship is wrong as well. So
yeah, right. When they're breaking the law, they're lawbreakers. But when they're following the law in a way you don't like, they're flouting the law.
Yeah.
So
there's no winning.
I don't know how you guys are being so nonchalant about this serious issue when every year thousands of Canadian geese fly down across the border.
Yeah.
And lay their eggs here, and they become American geese. Have you no shame, sir?
Just every day, daily, it happens.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
Illegal immigrants known for their excessive wealth.
hey, don't give me any ideas. Okay?
They tried that
those
before.
Canadian geese commit more crimes than those Latino immigrants, dude. I swear to God, I've been attacked by way more geese. They're violent. They're dangerous.
Okay, so
geese.
Look, I don't want to give people too much space on this, but there are violent geese in my neighborhood. Like straight up, like there are geese here they really are. Like they're protected in my city. They're protected. Like you can't do anything to them. So they're allowed to just run wild. They're spray painting houses. They're destroying property. It's just they're absolutely most violent geese.
Those geese gangs are fucked up.
The local geese, Eric? That was happening over there? Well, come on, man, tell us.
Yeah, and they're here illegally. They just flew in from Canada, and now they're just destroying our property. I don't know. I can't.
Goose replacement theory.
They're eating the bread. They're eating everything, the grass.
And some of them, I'm sure, are good geese.
Yeah, I'm sure a few of them are good, but there's far too many of the bad ones. So Look, Maestro, you're right though. They are, because they're big. They're like this tall. They're tall birds.
It can be pretty fucking intimidating.
DJ, you killed me. Oh my God. They're eating the bread.
Bob, they're channeling their Velociraptor ancestors. Yeah.
So I guess we could talk about the language of one of those executive orders is kind of weird, right?
Yes. Are we talking about
how whenever
two genders,
a baby is conceived and immediately that baby can either produce the large or the small reproductive cell. Mm-hmm. Right? Is that how that works? No?
Yeah. Do they have the different points of the order? My favorite were D and E. I liked those.
Yeah,
it's the exact wording was intriguing to me.
D and E. Yep, that's exactly what we got right here.
So I distinctly remember doing being on a few streams with people where I talked about trans legislation and issues with the trans people would have to deal with because of this new incoming administration, and I was laughed at for this. It was a joke because they're not going after trans adults. They're just trying to protect children. Okay, cool. So what is this? What is this then? Is Nancy Mace protecting trans children? Like, I don't understand. I mean, where are all the people apologizing for saying that to me? Because they're very quiet now.
Well, I mean, technically, Eric, this doesn't actually affect anybody, right? Like, who fits this description?
Yeah,
who
I don't know what
was producing
means.
Reproductive cells, right? Like we got zygotes fucking just throwing ropes. Apparently, I don't know.
These reproductive cells, right?
I like the implication that if your parents didn't find out your sex when your mother was pregnant, that you don't have like a gender.
Oh,
because you weren't sexed at conception. So anything later on, that's ambiguous.
Right. Yeah. So you're agender.
So it was a Jessie Gender. I saw the video she did on it, and the point she made was that initially we're all just XX. The Y comes later. So according to this legislation, we're all women, guys.
Yeah.
Not even trans women. We're just women.
I can roll with that.
I'm fine with it, man. Like,
you know what?
Literally doing
Fuck it. Yeah, we're all just women. Everybody on the planet's women. I'll just roll with that.
Okay.
Makes it super easy. No
Yeah.
more complaining.
Yeah.
We just killed gender reveal parties. No more pink and blue dust everywhere.
We're all pink, okay?
Women will soon control the world. Google
and I'm okay with
female
that.
domination.
We have our first woman president, guys.
Nipples, Greg. You know, don't speak for my nipples, all right?
I like this though. I like this definition. So like female, right?
Right.
It says a person belonging at conception. So this is determined at conception.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
To this belonging to the sex that produces the large reproductive cell. It doesn't say the person has to.
Wait, hold on. At conception?
Yes, conception. Literally.
At conception.
Yeah, when the fucking sperm
you
goes
have to
into
be
the
sexed
egg.
at conception. When you have,
I mean,
you need to basically be karyotyped. Like
it's like you're done and you're like, oh, it's a boy. It's a boy.
literally don't understand.
Who knows that? How does anybody know that? Like literally, that's crazy.
Right on this shit, man. Because
these are the guys that are always yelling that we're ignoring the science, and they don't understand the science at fucking all.
Genuinely, like I think this is the logical conclusion though of the fact that a lot of the anti-transgender stuff is also implicitly like anti-abortion stuff, because like life begins at conception and you are inherently your gender no matter what. I mean, these people basically believe in like gendered souls, so like of course naturally you'd say that your gender begins at conception.
I would love for them to tell me. I want to ask somebody as soon as they tell me that they are pregnant, what was the gender of your child or the sex of your child the minute he pulled out? What was it? I want to know what it was.
When that little
if you
guy
don't
just
know, I'm
swam
sorry.
right in
I
that
just
egg.
don't appreciate that DEI bullshit. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't believe in that. Oh my god.
Male means a person belonging at conception to the sex that produces small reproductive cell.
Yeah, so like you don't have to like produce those cells. Like if your body, because this is what conservatives like Matt Walsh would always say, is like a woman would come forward and be like, okay, I'm cisgender, but like my body doesn't do the thing that you say defines womanhood.
Right.
And they would say, well, you're an exception. It's like, okay, so
what
all you have to do is belong to that like sex class, basically. Which but it can't be self-ID. So your gender is what we tell you it is, basically.
But also, if there is one exception, there has to be the ability for more exception, which means that if you have an exception for one group, you can have exceptions for other groups, and then we just wrote back to where we were before all of this bullshit even started. You know what I mean? Like we go back to where it was like, okay, now we have to start defining what gender is for everybody. But they don't want to do that, so they go through this weird, squiggly, wiggly, geeked out stuff where it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, you have to be the dumbest motherfucker to look at something like this and go, yeah, this tracks. This makes sense to me. It just doesn't.
I mean, 2 executive orders we've looked at so far where the wording is just fucked up, where it's like, what does this even mean at the end of the day?
That's going to get them in court. When these get challenged, this wording is going to become very important because that's what they're going to use in court.
Maybe there's some kind of a plan to that. Maybe it would be one. I wouldn't be super surprised if they kind of did, make it stupid on purpose so that it has to be challenged. And then, it's going to be challenged anyway. But then, like, I don't know, man. I don't fucking know. It's nobody produces fucking reproductive cells at conception. That's the point.
Right.
Let me show you what it looks like. When you're
Can we see what someone looks like at conception? I want to see what that looks like.
Yeah, I got you right
I'm
here.
just
okay.
trying to wrap my head around large reproductive.
So that's it. A fertilized egg is what we are at conception.
I mean, if we wanted to, give them a little bit of, we could say maybe the 2 cells.
Man, I can't.
Like,
is there a PP or what is it? I can't tell what's on that.
Looks like boobs.
Yeah, I can't tell.
Is that boobs?
Yeah, I don't know. Is it eyes? I don't know. Is it a BBL? I can't tell what that is.
That's definitely simple. Okay. That's
yeah.
Oh well, now it's got 4 boobs. Oh no, wait.
It's like a biblically accurate angel.
I'm sorry.
That's true. Yeah.
We're going into total recall territory.
These are just cells. That's it. Yeah. So 5 weeks it becomes a fetus. Kinda weird, gross thing. At 5 weeks it becomes an actual fetus. That's what I'm gonna change my channel name to now.
Like, honestly, all they had to do to make it seem somewhat like they took more than 5 seconds is to say at birth instead of at conception, but they've roped themselves into this concept that life begins at conception. So now they're stuck behind that wall. They created that problem for themselves. So.
Well, I know who's going to clear all this up for us. It's Ryan.
Thank God.
Nothing we can do.
Ryan's here, yes.
Hey.
So.
That's right. Bringing science from the country that invented science.
Yeah.
I can make any claim I want now. And I still have the high moral ground.
Right there.
This thing right here, that's fucking skeet, slinging rope.
Now wait, is that the large reproductive cell, the small reproductive cell, or the thing I just made in the toilet?
I believe
oh no.
The weird thing is what they've done
Too far, Bob.
and this is something that anybody, if you've learned the science, will know. At conception, the cells that the egg and the sperm mixing has no sex, has no gender.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Male doesn't develop until it's something like 6 months.
Yeah.
But essentially, all that's why men have nipples. It's because all fetuses are female up until a certain point. So basically, what Trump has done is he's made all people female with his executive order in the US. So, hi, ladies.
Hey.
I need to get my ID changed quickly.
All lady panel going on here.
To demonstrate a point, actually, around what age do human beings typically begin to be able to produce reproductive cells?
Oh, it varies, doesn't it?
Just
I'm
like a range.
I'm not even gonna.
Like,
if I had to guess, I would say like probably around puberty, maybe. Is that correct or is that incorrect? I don't know. I'm not going to.
That's always what I assumed. I'm not gonna lie, my mind's a little stuck on envisioning a sperm flying into an egg and gendering that.
Whatever that number is, right?
Yeah.
That is when someone's body begins to actually be able to produce those cells.
Right.
If you couldn't,
without knowing for
those
certain,
cells,
I would
but you'd
say
find out.
Without saying for
presumably at a
certain, I'd say
point.
puberty.
Yeah. So prior to puberty, if you're prepubescent, you're female. Basically, is what I think I'm understanding here.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear this argued in court. This is going to be quite the day, I think.
Or maybe all children are transgender in a certain like.
That's another take.
They're neither male nor female, but a secret third thing.
Yeah, transgender, non-binary at that point. So.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I feel like in any other environment this would get laughed out of court, but with this Supreme Court, I am concerned. But like just looking at this stuff, it's laughable.
This tracks right. That seems scientific.
Until next time, my friends.
Yeah, He-Man's got it.
Yeah, I'm mourning my ability to make fun of my my English friends because I think we've jumped the shark a little bit over here in America with some of this stuff.
Yeah, you've lost it all now. I had somebody arguing that we elected Boris Johnson, and I'm like, sorry, can't use that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
You
didn't re-elect him. That's all that matters.
Yeah. You were a once great empire. Yeah, well, goes around, comes around.
So real quick, we got 105 people watching. Like and subscribe, guys. Hit up all the channels. We got Organized Chaos here. Obviously, we got AirrickDebunks. We got Actual Fandom. We got Nothing But Media. We got Chariot over there. Like and subscribe to all those channels. Check them out. All great content.
So I want to give a shout out though for everybody watching on my channel, and if you haven't already, definitely go over and do your duty and subscribe. But I had a goal of 3K for the end of last year, and I just hit it yesterday, which means it's about 21 days late, but that's okay. I'll take it. So yeah, I finally hit 3K on my channel. So thanks everybody for that. Appreciate it.
That's dope.
books, records, films, these things matter. Call me shallow. It's the fucking truth.